Dum 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 dum. Wicked wild, wicked wild west, chill west, Esperanto. Man, you better listen to some CMB.
Brenton, can you please get off that horse in my lounge room and stop rapping?
Nay to you, sir. Nay to you.
Oh, Jesus. Welcome, everyone, to a great, wonderful, beautiful episode of Classic Movie Banter.
A great, wonderful, and beautiful. Guys, you know what Classic Movie Banter is? It's that show where this guy, Brenton, and that guy, Nathan, we talk about movies that are 20 years or older. 20 years!
20 years!
20 fucking years. And in our,
to the day, Brenton.
In our book, you know, we're undecided whether that makes them classics, but here on Classic Movie Banter, we're here to talk about those movies and whether they are classics or whether they are worth taking the disc, like the HD DVD disc, and using, melting that shit down, and using it to make a fucking giant mechanical spider and to roll into town and to,
we want to use those discs as a frisbee, a deadly metal frisbee. Like.
Exactly. We're gonna roll into town on a giant spider, spitting metal frisbees, cutting people's heads off, making new friends. Meeting up with some Confederate supporters. You know the deal. Like,
yeah, of course. I know what you do with your DVD copies, Brenton.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
Brenton, we're here because can
I start this, Nathan? Because
please start this.
Because
Brenton.
I did literally start this whole thing. And I can't.
You really did.
I can't actually, for the life of me, remember what happened last episode and why in my mind.
I really can't too. And it was only a week ago.
Yeah, and why in some one little corner of my subconscious, this film was kind of hanging there, going, "Brenton, review me." And I brought it up in discussion, and now you fucking followed through with it, which you, as a great friend, does. And now we're here talking about it. And I'd just like to formally apologize to everyone, but most of all to you, Nathan, for putting you through this.
We do have we get suggestions all the time on what to watch, movies that we still haven't done,
Yeah.
There's so many, that we have yet to touch that we want to do at some point. We make it up week by week and some get prioritized over others. And yet, listeners, once we finished recording Twister and Tremors, Brenton, for some reason, had all these gadgets up his sleeves and held me at gunpoint at several angles and said, "We're reviewing Wild Wild West."
I was also wearing fake women's breasts, so
oh my goodness.
I was...
And what did you know about this movie before going in?
I've seen parts of it. I'd seen parts of it as a child, is what I'll say.
Oh, had you really?
Yeah, it was on television.
You lucky bastard.
It was on television, and I remember seeing some scenes from this film, which is why and I've got two questions for you straight off the bat. And the first is, do you actually remember why I mentioned this film last week? Because I can't.
I honestly don't.
I can't.
Tremors and Twister was almost like itself Tremors and Twisterful because it all went past in a blow, Brenton.
It really kind of shows you, though, like what those films, like the mental state that those films put us in, because this was the result. You know what I mean? Just think about that for a few minutes.
Could Wild Wild West be the love child of Tremors and Twister?
Hey,
it's not probably far from the truth.
Not far from the truth at all. But Nathan, the second question I had for you is that
yes,
I want you to use your imagination to answer this question.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine that you're back in the year 1998, when you gotta start filming something very soon.
Is it 98 or 90? Oh yeah.
No, we're in 98 because you got a film that's got to come out next year.
We've got to pitch it.
But you got to pitch it, to get your dollars so you can get your cast to get it together, get your crew together. You got those storyboards ready to go. Nathan, can you please pitch me Wild Wild West?
Okay. Freaking what? It's 1998. Hey, what's up? It's your homeboy Nate Dogg, and I'm here to...
Nathan, I'm gonna stop you right there. Get the fuck out of my office.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Wait a minute. I'll just do a Kevin Kline and change my costume.
Oh, okay.
And now it's no longer Nathan.
Oh, hello, he's back. Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh. I'm someone else.
Are you a prostitute? Hello.
Maybe. Yeah, this is how I'm gonna pitch this movie.
Shall I proposition you? No.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Brenton, are you familiar with the Western genre?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fantastic. Well, throw out everything you know about it, because I'm going to radically reinvent it.
Oh, Okay. Keep going. I'm concerned, but keep going.
Have you seen steampunk themed artwork?
I have. I'm very interested in it, It's got a very distinct style.
Could you imagine an alternate past, Brenton, where the steampunk aesthetic is applied within like cowboy era southern United States?
I'm starting to imagine it now, and it sounds like an interesting idea, an interesting setting, yeah.
You don't even have to imagine, buddy, because I want to make a movie that's set in this aesthetic.
Oh, wow, okay, cool. Has it got a lot to say? Is it like, so, like, are you an auteur? Do you really
Brenton, shut up. I'm going to give you everything in this movie.
Oh.
I'm going to give you some action, some romance, maybe, some sci-fi. Some comedy, definitely. Some attempts at some drama. And I'm going to roll it all into one. And I'm going to imagine, Brenton, I've had a lot of actors say no, so I want you to imagine Will Smith, from Men in Black's Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if he did the same character from Men in Black, but in a Western.
Okay. So you're going for more of like an adventure-style film, but what's this film's message, What are you trying to say? Why are you making this piece of art?
This movie is about what if a general survived from the Confederacy in the American Civil War and decided that he wanted to take over America by kidnapping the president via steampunked advancements in technology.
Oh, okay, right.
It's got future gadgets. It's like Inspector Gadget, but steampunk. As Will Smith befriends this mad scientist played... I'm thinking George Clooney, but I think in reality it's going to be Kevin Kline.
Oh, right. I like that guy. Okay. So, but I'm sensing like there's a lot of, there could be a lot of drama in this film. And I think like...
Brenton, I don't even know what the word drama means.
What a great idea, though, because I sense there'd be some racial tension, I imagine, between this Confederate soldier and Will Smith, who I presume is the hero of our story. And we can delve into that and really say something meaningful and deep, Is that what you're going for, or...?
Brenton, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine Django Unchained, but you've just smoked lithium.
Oh. Okay.
I want you to imagine, every idea I'm going to be told from this point onwards, Brenton, I'm going to say yes to for this movie. In fact, right now, I want you to say something outlandish you want in this movie, and I'm going to put it in there.
Can we have flamethrowers that spurt from women's breasts?
Yes. We will have that in this movie, and you know what? We're gonna do some poll testing before the movie even starts shooting, of like random crazy people in asylums, and say, what do you want to see in a movie? And we're gonna put it in this Western movie.
Well, Nathan, I was kind of like going along the aspect of like this could be, like a real revelation in the sense of cinema history, and saying something really meaningful, using history as a platform, but twisting history to show something different, something new, something new. But you just seem like you just kind of want to fuck all that and just
Brenton, I'm tossing every bit of... I'm tossing out. Why give a period accurate film on 1863 when we can have gadgets from today and weird sci-fi stuff that's powered by steam for whatever reason, and have Inspector Gadget himself as like Christopher Waltz on like cocaine?
You sound like an absolute madman, Nathan. And I just wanted to...
I am crazy. I am holding you at gunpoint after all.
Yes, I just wanted to finish by saying, Nathan, I'm intrigued, to say the least, and I just want to double check. The last thing I need to check before I give you all this money to go with this zany, crazy idea.
Oh, hundreds of millions, I imagine.
With this, incredible cast that you want to assemble by the looks of things. Nathan,
yes.
Are the jokes going to be at least good?
Brenton, it's 1998. I think we live in a progressive enough society where most of the jokes should be sex puns and predominantly featured on the male gaze.
Are they good ones, though?
I want to say, let's just say the actors are going to put effort in, so they'll think they're good, but really, Brenton, we'll make sure they're not good.
Here's fucking $500 million. Go make it, Nathan.
Thank you so much. I'm going to spend it all on blow and then film this movie.
Let's go, mate. Oh, WB.
Let's make it right
WB
now.
WB for the win. Let's go.
Woo!
Oh, that's all, folks. Well, all right. So, Nathan... That was probably the best pitch you've ever done. I will say. I was trying to throw you some hate. I wanted to get into the crux of it, and so I was asking a few more questions in there and making your job a bit harder. So my apologies about that. But Nathan, the thing is that we wasted. Well, we didn't waste. We used an hour. We used an hour 47 minutes of our time to watch this film.
Waste.
Nathan, at the end of all that, Wild Wild West, what do you think?
I think, Brenton, that this is a landmark of 20th century cinema. I'm not even fucking with you. I think this is the most fun I have had with a movie in years. I can't recall the last time I have finished a movie and gone, that was fucking outstanding. From top to tail. What an extravagant experience, Brenton. I feel like I've ridden like 5 roller coasters, and Brenton, I want to ride another 5 more.
Nathan, you're singing music to my ears right now. I have to say, when I was watching this film, when we were watching this film, I kept thinking, we have a mutual friend.
Yes, only one. The rest are enemies.
Whose last name will obviously remain anonymous on this podcast, but we'll say his first name, Logan, our good mate Logan.
Oh,
All I could think about as we watched this was, it would be great if Logan was watching this with us, because he's watched a few of the films with us. You know, he watched some Seven Samurai. He watched some Court Jester with us. He watched some American Pie.
He did. My housemate Logan, and bless him, because half the time he's stoned for it. So like, it's him high watching this movie would have made this movie even better, and I can't think of how, but it would.
Nathan, I just want to just say something very quickly on this podcast, is that I was very conflicted coming into this episode.
Like the United States itself in this movie, you were in conflict.
And yeah, part of me didn't even know I was going to be in conflict, as so happens in this film. But the point being is that I was kind of in conflict because I was thinking to myself, Brenton, there are so many issues. There's so many issues with this movie. This humor is juvenile. It's from the male gaze, and it's very uncomfortable and kind of off-putting at points. This film would not be made today. Well, and if it was made today, it would be absolutely slammed in today's climate. And yet, my gut and my heart was telling me...
What does your heart tell you, buddy?
That even though this is a train wreck... pardon the pun, I was having such a great time, and it kind of, because obviously, like I said, I'd seen parts of this film before, and as a child I'd seen the end, I'd never seen the start of it, and I remember enjoying this film as a kid. Like, I remember when it was on TV, I was like, oh, I'm into this, and like having fun and whatever.
Oh yeah.
And yet I still kind of retain that, and it's one of these films that like it's
Oh, you think you got some nostalgia in there?
No, it's not nostalgia. I don't love it enough to have nostalgia, but it's such an atrocity that it was still enjoyable to it, like to a sense. Like, and you have to, you don't really have to switch your brain off, because this film switches your own brain off. It like does that to you. You have there's literally a scene in this film which involves a man dressed as a woman and using his breasts that have like it's like a hypnotic effect that he opens this gadget that has like,
oh my god, yeah.
And this is at the very start of the film, and it's literally kind of like the metaphor that sums up this film, in that it's like that idea as a concept is fucking atrocious, but at the same time you're just hypnotized, you're just drawn in, and you just want to see it to the end, and you're just having you're having a great time by this shitty gadget that is a stupid kind of sexist idea, but it's still kind of enjoyable, silly fun.
Brenton, I disagree with you on what you said before when you said this film is a train wreck. Brenton, this film is not a train wreck. I genuinely argue this is a well-crafted film, and I dispute anyone who says otherwise. I think this film is the perfect iteration it could be. Yes, it's misogynistic. Yes, its writing is completely poor, but it works because its writing is pretty poor. And not because it's like so bad it's good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the bad writing is good.
Nathan, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, there are things technically in this film that you can look at and you can be like, there's literal like plot threads that are introduced, like they're introducing them for you, and they're and they're like, I get what you're saying, because it's introduced in such shitty ways that you go, this is going to come up in like probably a scene from now and be important, but it's introduced in such a shoddy kind of way, but it's still kind of like someone had to okay that line to be put in the film, you know what I mean?
Someone had to okay this whole fucking film.
Exactly. So it's intentional and yet enjoyable.
Mate, the most glaring example of that, the quintessential element of that, is Salma Hayek. Brenton, why is she in this movie?
Nathan, she's there because she's a woman a very attractive woman, a very beautiful woman.
Yes.
Who's a
very short woman, I learned from this movie.
Who's a great actor in her own right. Like,
yes.
But Put that
She's great as Frida Kahlo.
Put that woman in a corset, and that was basically the self-tape. Let's just say that it was like, can you wear a corset? And they were like, mate, you're in.
What is she doing here?
But at the same time, there was an endearing relationship between her and Kevin Kline that you kind of just wanted to...
Was there? They had like 5 glances the whole movie.
I know. And it's kind of the point at the same time.
And the ending of her arc completely undoes her entire presence in this film.
I know. She might as well have not have been
there.
there.
For no good reason.
She may as well have not have been there. And she wasn't there for the climax of the film. She just wasn't there.
Also, I don't think she's a good actress in this.
No, God, no.
What the hell is her accent in this movie, Brenton?
I don't know, but she does some
Is she
impersonations.
meant to be French? Because we find her with the French.
She does some impersonations of other accents at some points, and you're like, what is going on here? Nathan, in terms of performances, though, we can agree that Salma Hayek's poor, and, that might not be entirely her fault because of the writing. Let's get into some of the other performances. Will Smith.
What is the best, Brenton? It's hard to choose.
Hard to say. I'd say Will Smith is like the second tier. Like, he's the leading man. He's charismatic as ever.
I think he has the coolest glasses ever put into film.
Oh my god, dude, I want a pair of those sunnies, bro. Like,
how dope are those glasses? Like, the glasses in general, but how dope are Will Smith's
the
glasses?
glasses and the hats, man. Like, fucking hell.
Oh, they're amazing. But like with Will Smith, is he meant to be funny in this?
I think so.
Because I feel like on set he was doing his usual Will Smith shit, and like people behind cameras were like, "Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, keep going, Will. Like, yeah, that's so funny."
Keep going, Will.
I think like 80% of his shit falls flat.
It does. But at the same time,
what is he doing?
But at the same time, he's just kind of there. He's that hot-headed lead guy that's goes in all guns a blazing. He's that kind of character, and that's all. That's all I can really say about it. That's all I can say about him. Like he serves his purpose, and that's fine. But Nathan, let's talk about Kevin Kline.
Okay, we've got rid of the shitty acting in this movie. Let's talk about like the Academy Award-winning acting.
Kevin Kline. Let's talk about Kevin Kline, Nathan.
I don't think I've seen a film with Kevin Kline in it before.
Yeah.
And this is my first movie with him, and I think this is one of my favorite performances. Like this, like he is so good.
He's great. I think he's great as well. I think he's quite funny, like with what he's given to do. Like there's some funny shit that he does in this movie. There's a lot of funny shit he does in this movie that's just quirky and silly.
It reminds me a lot of Robert Downey Jr. from the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Sure. Yeah, I get that actually. Yeah,
like with his cross-dressing and like his quips and all that kind of shit. But he he jokes a lot, but he knows exactly what he's doing at all times.
Sure, I mean he's not probably. You get the sense in those films with Robert Downey Jr. that the character's got some neurotic condition or something that's caused.
Oh, he is addicted to opium in those movies.
Yeah, but in this,
apart from that,
But in this, it's kind of like he's just a big nerd, really, and he's just kind of like, he's like a geeky guy that's kind of.
He likes his well-cooked meals, doesn't he?
He does. And I enjoyed
the comfort of his own home
in this film. But Nathan, we have to talk about the most outlandish performance ever put on screen, like this year in particular.
What's more outlandish, him or Eddie Redmayne?
Who? Sorry, out of who and Eddie Redmayne?
Okay. Kenneth Branagh. Who was more outlandish, Kenneth Branagh or Eddie Redmayne from Jupiter Ascending?
Kenneth Branagh for sure, because.
And did you think you would discover a more outlandish performance in your lifetime, Brenton?
And Nathan, I already knew about this performance. And I did not. I have to say this is that Eddie Redmayne's fucking weird in Jupiter Ascending. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's just this weird thing. But like, what I say outlandish is that Kenneth Branagh is literally outlandish in this movie. He talks with this southern accent. He's just going to town. He's just like he's like an actor that's just having
this performance?
The most fun I think I've ever seen someone have, like, behind a camera. Just going absolutely
this is insane.
Nuts. Like on the other side of this camera and using this accent with this bizarre character.
What is he doing?
That is
who directed him? Like, what choices contributed to this movie? Like, and like his accent is so radically different to everyone else's accents as well. Like, they're all meant to be from the South, but like the look of him, like everything about him looks as though like they just all like had mushrooms and said, let's build a character,
Nathan,
like.
Did you enjoy it though? Did you enjoy his performance?
I loved it.
Like,
every scene Kenneth Branagh was in, I'm like, why is he not the most famous for this role? This easily beats him in any Shakespeare, in any Harry Potter.
He was. I'm not sure if he won Best Actor actually, but he was nominated for Best Actor for Henry V. We know him as Gilderoy Lockhart. We see his performances. We know Walking with Dinosaurs. Classic. But
Of course. He directed the first Thor, iconic movie.
Nathan, I like the first Thor. Don't put it down.
Same actually.
But Nathan, why don't we talk about this more? Because it's...
What is this wheelchair, Brenton?
I don't even want to get into it because of the spoilers, because that is...
But why is this character written to be half a man?
Hey man, it's so they could have some great quipping between him and Will Smith.
Oh my god. Jesus, those jokes bombed,
so
didn't they?
bad.
And they get increasingly more vicious. They just
keep going.
It reminds me of in Back to the Future when Biff is chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But they just keep going, dude. There's 3 scenes I think in a row where it's just and it's it's not just 2 or 3. It's there'll be 8 of them in a row, back and forth, and that's literally the scene between those two characters.
Jeez.
The introductory scene between those two characters meeting for the first time is just quips and puns. Back and forth.
It's literally just that. What is the tone of this movie, Brenton? Because it is wildly inconsistent.
It is all over the place. Inconsistent is the word that sums it up perfectly.
Because Kenneth Branagh, he's meant to be painted as this sinister villain, but every time he starts a speech, he just for some reason decides to say foreign words in the most horrendous southern accent. Jesus! He's like Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards. He's like buongiorno, and he's like Buenos Aires. And what is he on?
And then Nathan, what's ridiculous though is that he's a Confederate officer or whatever, and so he has this deep conceited racism, that courses through his veins, and it's used as there's puns and quips basically in this film. It's when he talks to Will Smith, and it's just ridiculous. You're just watching it, just
he uses Will Smith's color of his skin as quips. Even Will Smith, there's a point where there's a scene in this movie where Will Smith is essentially doing stand up in front of slave supporting white people.
I know.
And making,
I forgot about that. Holy fuck!
What the fuck? Did they not test this movie?
Holy fuck! When he was I understand. I can't. Well, we can't talk about it because of spoilers. But we need to talk about that in spoilers because holy fuck! That was put on screen.
Could you imagine if a scene like that happened today?
This movie would not be made today, my friend.
Oh my god!
I think.
What is the writing, Brenton? It feels like this was written by the most sexually frustrated teenager on the planet. You know what I mean?
Totally. That's a great.
It could segue into porn on any section.
That's a great idea. That's a great way of summing it up. It is literally the writing is just written like that. A sexually frustrated male teenager that doesn't know it doesn't have any maturity or sense of the world or anything. It's like they've been taught some.
He's just on some he's just been sniffing petrol for 10 years.
Totally.
And this is what they imagine cowboys. No, okay, they've been sniffing petrol for 10 years and they've been watching reruns of Toy Story, and this is what they wrote.
And they were watching reruns of Toy Story, and they were in modern history at school, and they were oh, the Civil War and fucking shit, hey, and they were that's an interesting part of history. I got something to say about that. And then they wrote this, but they forgot that they'd smoked the acid-laced cigarette that Brad Pitt had in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh my god!
And just started going at the typewriter. Except there wasn't a typewriter because it was the 90s. It was they thought it was a typewriter, and then this kind of spewed out, and yet it got past all those points. There's points where people say, Yo, you should fix this and that, and we should do this and we should do that or change this. And this film probably went through those stages of maybe some reshoots, some re-edits, some writing of some new scenes so things made a bit more sense. And yet this was the final product. And what's even more surprising is that we're sitting here and being yeah, but it's fun.
It's so Brenton, this reminds me of the original Pirates of the Caribbean. From start to finish, it's just action and adventure and just fun. The directing is fun. Nathan. The action the actual action sequences, they're fun. They're corny. Yeah, they're Sunday morning cartoon shit. But it's fun.
Nathan, I gotta say though, in all seriousness, Pirates of the Caribbean is a far better crafted film than this. Like we can't.
I think I had more fun in this than Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's fine. That's fine. But you can't. I don't think you can compare those two films.
No, I think this is as well crafted as Curse of the Black Pearl.
One is clearly superior than the other one on a technical like standpoint. Like this film is, like, as we say, tonally inconsistent, has got shoddy writing, has got some questionable performances.
The CGI didn't even bother me.
The CGI is fine. Like, who cares? It's a product of its time. Yeah. It's got some interesting editing choices as well. You know, like some, interesting shot choices as well. Like, like technically it's probably not all there.
Great set design.
Yeah.
Outstanding set design.
Yeah, like some good production design, but.
And costuming as well, both like some of the best I've seen.
And yet we're talking about these issues and we're noting these issues, but the thing that gets me is that I still walk away from this and it still holds a special place in my heart, and not from a necessarily like from a nostalgic perspective. It's not that, because I don't really have any nostalgia for this film.
No,
it's just that it holds a special place in my heart because it's going for all these things and it's not necessarily succeeding, and yet it's melding together. It's melding together into this thing that is still enjoyable because it's trying and it's going for something, and it's
like, Brenton, it's like when you go to a lolly store and you say to your child, all right, here's $10, go get me some lollies, and they bring you back a lolly bag, and it's got this concoction of just the most obscure, weird lollies in it, and you're kind of eating them one by one, and maybe some of them are quite gross, but after this snack of lollies, Brenton, you feel satisfied. You feel like you've had a great snack and a great collection of lollies.
Nathan, I think that's a great metaphor, but I'm going to say that Wild Wild West is when you go to the theatre. It's not like the professional theatre. It's a community theatre. It's a community community youth theatre production of Oliver. And you go to it, and you've got someone that's orphan number 76, and they're your nephew, and you're going along to see them because the family's kind of forcing you along, and you're going, fuck, I'm gonna have to spend 3 hours of my life watching this. So you go in, you've paid your $25 or whatever for your ticket, and you sit down and it starts. And you know in your heart that it's not what Charles Dickens had in mind when he wrote Oliver Twist, you know.
It's definitely not an adaptation of the TV series, I'll give you that.
It's not, it hasn't got the rich vibrancy of those characters, the cleverness of his writing. It doesn't have any of that. And yet at the same moment, it doesn't have what Lionel Bart's going for, at the time when he adapted Oliver Twist into the musical.
But what does it have going for it,
But it's got this life to it and it's not necessarily because your nephew's in it, because you don't give a fuck about your nephew in this performance, but it's got this endearing quality of this community that's come together to make this thing that kind of sucks, but at the same moment everyone's going for it, and individually there's some great things being done by some people that are just having a stupid old time, and again isn't necessarily what the original source material was, but it's still doing something that's just getting your heart going and getting you.
Oh yeah, my heart is going. It's like it's about to have cardiac arrest.
You know what I mean? Like it's that feeling. It's that.
It is, Brenton,
that you're watching that you can recognize as shit.
Stop saying shit, Brenton, because I think this is a fucking excellent movie.
You're watching it and you recognize the problems, the flaws from afar, and yet you're still having a good time, and those 3 hours kind of go past like that, and you walk out and then
this film is beautifully paced, isn't it?
You walk out and you walk out of that theater and you just go, I'm going to remember that night, and we're going to talk about that night as a family. Like, nights from now, it'll come out in conversation sometimes, and we'll go, remember that thing, and remember that bit, that fucking bit, like, and when that one guy that's not like the best actor in the world, but he did that thing, and it was like, what the fuck? And everyone was like, yeah, it's fun, and you moved on with your life, but yet you still hold a little place in your heart for Oliver, done by that youth community.
Brenton,
theater.
We're not having a fucking funeral for this movie. Like, we're not really looking back on it, remembering the highs and lows. This is a film I'm baffled that's not in pop culture right now. That didn't spawn a franchise.
Why?
How did this not spawn a franchise? This is the most like franchise-friendly movie I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, maybe we'll find out when we talk about the Power to the People section, when we talk about how people responded to this and how much, I guess, how much money this film made.
Fuck you, general public. This is a fucking excellent movie. I'm ready to put my thumbs up, Brenton.
All right, Nathan, your thumbs are up because my thumbs are fucking up as well. What the fuck?
Thursday night, I could not think of anything better to lift up the week than putting on this movie on a Thursday night.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
I would be looking forward to Thursdays if this was on Thursday nights. I would be like,
I have to say,
yes.
Coming into this episode, dude, I was I was under the impression wholeheartedly that your thumbs were going to be down, and I was going to look like...
I heard this film's famously shit.
And I was going to be like, I'm going to be that dickhead again on this fucking podcast that puts their thumbs up and goes, yeah, it's fucking, it is what it is. It's a good time.
And you think I would want to shit on this movie, but I genuinely think it's a well-made film. I think by complete stupidity and serendipity, it stumbles its way into being an excellent film. It's like fucking drunk Homer Simpson stumbling out of Moe's bar and knocking over street lamps as he's doing it, but somehow lands in his car and perfectly goes home. You know what I mean? It's just, it's great. There's not a single age that shouldn't watch this. Toddlers would love it. Fucking grandparents would love it. Watch this with your partner. Watch this with your parents. Watch this with veterans who have war stories, because this will bloody knock their socks off. Watch this with your priest. Watch and just have fun. Have fun, Brenton.
Nathan, let's spoil this piece of shit. Spoilers. Spoilers! Spoiling this movie, yeah. Spoilers. Nathan,
Brenton, this whole movie is just...
It's the whole thing is worth talking about. We could
literally the whole thing. There's not a single dull scene in this movie.
You could do a critique for this on YouTube, and it'd go for 5 hours, and you just go scene by scene, and just go through it, and you're like, this thing, that thing, and everything else around that thing. Nathan, I just want to quickly point out as well that Buffalo Bill has a starring role in this film as well. Do you remember Buffalo Bill?
Oh my goodness!
From the film that you gave a thumbs down to, which I'll just never understand. Silence of the Lambs.
I stand by
Nathan, that actor plays a dude in this film that's also a Civil War veteran, and he's missing an ear. And he has a
my goodness.
I don't even, like a
When I first saw him, I thought he was Bronn from Game of Thrones, Jerome Flynn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, that looks identical to him. I'm like, what's he doing in this movie?
That's so funny, dude. But yeah, he's in this movie for the first, probably third, before he's brutally...
Why is his hearing aid a fucking trumpet?
Dude, when he bends that thing down and all the all his earwax and juice, whatever the fuck's in there, oozes out.
He's amazing in this movie when he fucking dies at the river.
Oh, man. I just had to point out that performance as well, because what the fuck? The whole time I was just he's just kind of there. But I just wanted to point that out.
I love that performance. I love everyone in this movie, except for maybe Salma Hayek. She's so dumb in this movie. She's so pointless. She just tags along. Her whole narrative arc, of finding her father, is just cliche.
He's
for the
actually
sake
a
of
husband,
it.
and it was why was she lying about that to begin with?
Yeah. It makes no sense. And she was flirting with him, having her ass hanging out of her fucking nightgown or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's so stupid. And she's dumb as well. She fucking lets off the sleeping bombs, even though Kevin Kline's don't. She's like, oh, yeah, let's get fucking trapped. You think she might have been a double agent, but she's too dumb for it, because then she just bloody gets captured again. It's Brenton, should we talk about the costumes of this movie?
Nathan, let's talk about Kevin Kline's wardrobe.
Oh my goodness. I thought Robert De Niro in Stardust, in his wardrobe, was going to be the best I would ever see a revered actor getting in drag. Brenton, I'm wrong.
It was Robin Williams in fucking Mrs. Doubtfire, wasn't it? That's the
100%.
ultimate. But hey, Kevin Kline in this.
Could you imagine if it was Robin Williams instead of Kevin Kline?
Oh my god! Could you that's? It's
I
not
love
a bad
Kevin
idea.
Kline in this movie, but it's 90s Robin Williams. It would have worked so fucking well.
Nathan, though, let's talk about that wardrobe, and when the first shot of Kevin Kline in this film is him dressed as this woman in this saloon. And it is the funniest thing ever. Instantly that you're looking at a man. Straight away.
Yeah.
It's so obvious, and it's obvious as well that it's someone that's trying to be undercover. But as Kevin Kline, there's a line in the film that says he was propositioned by several men in this establishment. And he is.
Yeah, he Will Smith is really, we got to pretty you up, and he was like, dude, no, I was hit on by 3 chicks, and Will Smith's like, really?
Oh man, it's a funny segment,
and I love it when one guy asks him out, and his boob fucking turns into a flower gun, and it fucking punches him in the face.
I know, right? It's ridiculous. It's so quick and you'll miss it too. It's just some random kind of thing. It's at the very start too.
Oh, I loved him as that stripper. I love it that Buffalo Bill picks the stripper because he has the same name as his mother.
Totally.
I'm like, Jesus, he's fucked up.
What was the name again? It was Doris or what was it?
Oh, don't talk to me about
And
Doris.
It was like my mom's name was Doris, and then he's like, let's go upstairs, and it's like fucking hell.
Like, what the fuck is going on with this
Nathan,
guy?
but it's so clear for like as a setup. This is like one of those setup things that you're very clear like when it's set up and when the characters of Will Smith and Kevin Kline meet for the first time, that Will Smith at some point in this film is going to get into drag as well. Like that he's gonna.
Oh, you know, and you get excited for it. And when he does, it's fucking
doesn't
incredible.
let you down. When he rocks up. When Kevin Kline is clearly about to be executed, and Kenneth Branagh as Dr. Lovelace is like the dumbest motherfucker ever. Like,
why does this
they're about
work?
to execute him.
Why is like in the middle of this auditorium and everyone not shooting at Will Smith immediately?
And you just hear that music, and then he just comes up and he's doing like peacock sounds. He's like, like as he's coming up. He does his lap dance on Kevin. Oh, like. Kenneth Branagh's reaction, reacting to Will Smith in that scene is the funniest shit ever. How he's like trying to like slap him on the ass, and he's like, "Wait, whoa!" And it's like,
and he's got no fucking legs, and he's just he's got no dick.
No,
what is he doing?
Like, and it's this clear thing. It's like I lost my reproductive organs and like all this shit, and you're like,
and you're like, what are you doing? And for some reason, yeah, it's like he's like very progressive with like feminism because all of his stuff.
No,
women.
it's like well, yeah, that, and also it's like he's trying to like he's got the classic like kind of he's got this syndrome of like, I don't have a dick anymore, so I'm gonna surround myself with all the beautiful ladies and show that I'm still sexual, and you know I can keep up with the best of them. And you're like, oh gosh, this guy has got so many things going for him at the moment. He's got a fucking giant spider. He's got a giant tank that turns into a train.
He's for some reason got a quarter of the United States just for himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Which you're like, there's no way. Even if you were Hitler, there's no way Hitler would have like cut out a quarter of Germany going, this is just for me.
There's a scene in the film where like the president's like, oh, like, because everyone thinks he's dead as well. And it's like, well, we're at war. No one told me. And it's like, mate, someone that's got that much firepower and like has committed that much, like the amount of slaughters that this person has like committed, you know, your intel should be getting back to you as the president of the United States that, like, you know, some shit's going down.
He just stands there so nonchalantly.
I know.
Oh, can we acknowledge, by the way, how great it is that Kevin Kline's doing a double performance in this movie as the president?
I love it. I do love it.
I think that's amazing. Like, oh, it's just so good. It's so fucking good. One thing I got to say, we got to talk about as well is just how fucking awesome that gadget train is.
Oh my god, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when Will Smith first gets onto the, by the way, like, fuck the train, but at the same time, because Will Smith has got his loyal horsey. He's got his loyal horsey who is like riding up alongside the train because Kevin Kline didn't fucking wait for him because he took up on his penny farthing that's got like rockets attached to it, whatever the fuck he had, and so he's taken off without Will Smith. Will Smith has to ride his horse with all these saddlebags and shit on it up to the train. He's jumped on the train. The train's like flung him into the air, and he's landed into the compartment because the roof's opened up or some bullshit. As he's like landed in the seat next to him, and we never see the horse again. That poor motherfucking horse. That like all it did was like do its job, look after Will Smith, you know, go wherever he wanted him to go, and then it's just abandoned because Kevin Kline didn't fucking wait for him on the train. What a piece of shit. Like, that horse deserved better.
That poor horse just runs off, but then again it's spared from like, you know, the fucking like Warner Brothers cartoon Hammer that's like living in that fucking like train, and just all the gadgets of death, and like the pool table that like goes perfectly under. Like, what's he doing?
There's a segment of the film as well where like that pool table like lowers down and like goes onto the tracks, and then Will Smith, like, it's got like 4 wheels on it, and Will Smith like uses it to try to get onto the tank, which he does. But like, it's such a stupid segment when he like lassos the bloody underneath the tank, and he like goes out the other side of the tank, and then it like kind of stretches, and then he's like yanked back where he was, and he goes, oh yeah, the stretchy rope. It's like, hell, really, it's bizarre, like, yeah, come on. It's like, although, to be fair with you, Brenton, I still think out of all that, the stupidest gadget in this movie is the fucking head projector. Oh my god, how fucking hilarious is that? And like the stupid joke that's like,
and it's out of focus because he hasn't got his fucking glasses.
That shit's bullshit. On. But like the funniest thing in that scene as well, which isn't funny, but like the joke of the scene is meant to be that Will Smith keeps going, "That is a man's head," and you like keep saying it, and it's like, mate, you're like
it's like, yeah, we get it,
got it, like, you know, like, and surely Will Smith's character and like the very little character development he's given, and you know what we find about his past. It's like, dude, like you've seen worse shit than this. Like, come on, come off it.
It's so true. It's like, really. It's
He's like, I grew up in the desert. It's like, yeah, bro, you've seen some fucking shit.
Yeah, yeah. When he's fucking like talking about like the growing up with the native, like the Indians or whatever it is, it's like, geez, like what's like this? Nothing should shock you by this point, Will Smith. Brenton, we've avoided talking about this, so now it's time. Let's talk about this spider.
Nathan, there's a giant mechanical spider in this film. It's like this film goes full Empire Strikes Back. And there's literally a segment where a flying, like, airspeeder type vehicle is, like, dropping bombs and shit down on a giant mechanical spider driven by Kenneth Branagh.
Okay, what would win, an AT-AT or the mechanical spider?
To be honest, the mechanical spider's more mobile. Like, it can't have the stupid little thing done in Empire Strikes Back when, like, you know, the rope's tied around the legs and it falls over. It's like, that shit's mobile. And it's also got a fucking lot of firepower. That thing destroys, like, huge rocks and shit.
I can see why they kept it at the end.
Yeah.
I'm like...
Fuck yeah, I love that they keep it at the end as well. And they go off into the sunset. It's got that classic, like, end of a western shot of, like, the sun setting. But it's got the giant mechanical spider. And you're like, what the fuck? And then the film ends. And you're like, what the fuck?
It's like... And they're also working for the Secret Service, and you're just like, how on earth is a giant metal spider helping the Secret Service? Like, could you imagine, like, Trump, like, he's doing a speech and behind him's like a giant fucking metal spider?
Nathan, can you imagine any world leader just, like, hanging out, like, and they're just like...
Although, knowing Trump, it kind of would work, you know? Like... I can just see him doing it. He's like got a DVD copy of like Wild Wild West, The Oval Office, and he's like, fuck it, let's bring back this into security.
Nathan, not only do we get a huge giant spider, but we also get like a segment where Dr. Octopus himself just like rocks up in the movie.
I was thinking exactly that, Brenton. The second Kenneth Branagh had fucking legs, I'm like, is Doc Ock in this movie? Is this Alfred
When
Molina?
basically, like, his wheelchair finally breaks in the movie, and it's a one-on-one between Will Smith v. Kenneth Branagh, and those legs, like, fold out from underneath him, and he starts, like, taking him down with his legs, like, oh my god, dude. What a moment, you know,
that was just incredible.
What a moment.
Like,
and then
I love
and then
it.
where Kevin Kline, like, because he doesn't want to shoot him, obviously, because he's got his whole thing against violence, but he shoots him in the mechanical leg, and then the mechanical legs kind of fold in, and he's like left there in the middle of his legs going, oh, what do I do? Like,
he's like, it's like someone's like squashed a spider and his legs just fall flat, and it's just like, oh man. Do you wish he'd started spurting some Dr. Octopus lines as he was talking to him? He grabs the spider and he's like, I will not die a monster. And he tries to like pull down the spider.
He's like, you know, the only way to a woman's heart is poetry, Peter. Like,
he starts reading Will Smith poetry, and Will Smith's like, is this guy fucking crazy? It's just like, oh yeah, as like, Will Smith's like dangling from dangling from fucking Kenneth Branagh at the end, he just starts like dropping some poetry.
And when he falls to his death at the end, he just shouts out, Rosie!
Oh, I would have loved it. He's like, no, he's holding on to Will Smith and he's like, Butterfingers. He like drops him.
What's the line he says when he fucking like when he goes, you've got a train to catch or something like that? Like when he puts up the lever or whatever and he rips it out and he throws it to Spider, he's like, we got a train to catch, and he like jumps off like, motherfucker.
Oh,
and
my
literally,
goodness.
You know, they do have a train to catch in this film, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they do. It would have fucking worked, Brenton. I can just so see like Kenneth Branagh just being like smashed in the face by Aunt May with an umbrella.
Could you imagine if at the end, like everything's failed, like Kevin Kline's about to be, you know, is about to die at the top of the spider. The president's there. He's been captured as well. It's not looking good. The spider's going to go off the cliff. Kenneth Branagh has Will Smith like about to like fall to his death, and they're going to die together. And then Tobey Maguire just like web slings in there, just like.
Oh my god. That would fucking make this movie so good. Spider-Man would so work into this movie.
And he's all like,
good. Oh wait, no. They said how do we attack the spider? And like, I guess we'll have to fly above the spider. And they like find in the train like a goblin glider.
Or like Peter just like rocks up, and like the line he says when he rocks up, he's just like, pizza time? Like
Kevin Kline's drawing is just like back to form.
And Nathan, the other thing I wanted to say, you mentioned it kind of then. What I was alluding to when I was talking about in our non-spoiler section was that there's a lot of plot lines in this thing that are introduced to the next scene. Things will make sense. And as soon as that spider that Kevin Kline goes to Will Smith, oh, you got a spider on your hand, and he like lets it go to the fire.
Oh yeah, and the wasp
he's like,
fucking
watch
does
this
it.
wasp kill this spider right now. It's like the best thing. It was like clearly obvious that like that was going to be the way that they took down the giant spider.
That was the most obvious Chekhov's gun ever in a movie, I think. I'm like, I'm like, really? It's like, oh God. Before we leave the spoiler section, I'll remind you, you wanted to talk about Will Smith's like slavery stand-up comedy.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So Will Smith is about to be lynched, which isn't something that's, usually a comedic scene.
Which is so tonally inconsistent with the rest of the movie.
It's
also, which is a part of their plan for some reason.
Oh my God. And Kevin Kline provides like Will Smith with the rope and he's like, hang him. He like gives them the idea and Will Smith's like, the fuck? And anyway, apparently it's stretchy rope so it won't like kill him, though like, the logistics of that are kind of fucking stupid because if you...
That's still crack your neck,
if your hands are tied behind your back and you're left there hanging on a piece of rope, no matter how stretchy it is, you're gonna it's gonna strangle you to death at least, even if it doesn't break your neck. Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, so to save his own skin, Will Smith. It's not Kevin Smith ain't in this movie, but fuck, that'd be hilarious.
Oh, I'd love it if it was Kevin Smith. Have you seen his famous story about the spider in this movie?
No.
Oh, everyone go onto YouTube. Kevin Smith, because Kevin Smith knew the producer of this movie because they were making a Superman movie together, and Kevin Smith tells this incredible 20-minute story on YouTube about why there's metal spiders in this movie.
I need to look it up. I need to watch it after this episode. Holy
You
God.
have to listen. It's like the best anecdote you'll hear in your life. It beats anything on Graham Norton. It is so funny. You got to listen. I've got to
look it up.
Listeners. Just type in Kevin Smith Wild Wild West.
Oh
Spider.
my God, yes. I'm so glad I brought up Kevin Smith, even though I didn't mean to. Will Smith is doing a comedy routine to save his skin, and he starts being like, "Oh, I'm kind of with you guys.
Red, what a passionate color.
You guys just you don't want to be picking the cotton yourselves." I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Holy fuck! To get a black man to say that,
it's so insensitive.
Like,
I was like, "Holy shit,
it's
man!" And
I love it. He's kind of getting heckled as he's doing it too. People are still shouting at him like, "Oh, hang him!"
That was a very strange scene, and I was kind of. It was like you were kind of like not even laughing, but I would like say gasping and like in disbelief that it was like happening. I was just like, "Holy fuck!" I don't remember this scene as a kid.
Jeez, could you imagine being in the cinema for that? Like, oh. Brenton, I would 1,000,000,000% if a local cinema was doing like
a 20 because it's 20 years old this year. Maybe we can convince our local.
If there's a fan screening later this year, Brenton, we're going. Okay, that's the rule.
Yeah, fuck the cats, Nathan. We got a bit of time right now to do some special segments.
They're here and they're special. Because tell you what, over our many episodes, Brenton, we've done the odd like random segment here and there, and so we've now collected them because we're so organized into what we call special segments, and there's a couple we want to do this episode. The first one I want to do is I'm bringing back the segment. What is the worst and best beard? Wait, what's the best and worst beard of this movie?
Nathan, I've got the worst and the best like right in my head right now. I'm ready to go. Nathan, the worst beard is Kenneth Branagh's in this film.
What the fuck is this? This is the worst beard I think I've seen since the Hunger Games.
Like, guy who's I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know the guy who's running the Hunger Games? This is the worst beard since there, where you're just like, logistically to shave that either Kenneth Branagh is really talented, he's got some girl working for him who's just very artistic.
Also, like, matching that beard with the mullet as well. Like, what the fuck is that? I'm just looking at it again now. I got a close-up up. Like, how is that even possible? Especially with presumably like a straight razor or something. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is like cowboy era, like shaving.
Nathan, maybe he's got like a specific like beard trimmer that he's made his giant spider and in it, like he puts his head in this machine. And that's and that's what it comes out with. And match with that mullet. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, what a look.
Oh my goodness.
The best beard is actually it's not featured for long, but it's one of Kevin Kline's. It's when he's playing the Russian.
It's the president, isn't it?
No, it's when he's the Russian guy, and he has that big curly mo and like that huge beard. In that scene where he goes into the sex dungeon where Salma Hayek is being kept for some reason, it's never explained.
In a bird cage of all things.
But Kenneth Branagh has this weird sex dungeon, even though it's been established that he has no penis.
Oh my goodness.
And,
yeah.
And it's like, and you're like looking at this, he's got like sex swings and shit on it. He's got like fucking all the things, and it's this huge bed as well. And then Salma Hayek's in a bird cage. But anyway, in that scene, you see Kevin Kline's majestic beard. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it when they use some pomade or whatever they're using on the mo, and it just like it's got the curl, and you're just like, oh shit, boy, like that's a man I'm looking at right now. Fucking hell, yeah.
Mate, I tell you what, like you and I are slowly getting there. I mean, we're getting through November, Brenton, and right now I'm pretty impressed with what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
I reckon once by the time the month's over, you are definitely going to have like a proper mo, like akin to Kevin Kline.
Should I like buy some like Mo-Gel and like start waxing it? You know what I mean?
Can you? Okay, at the end of November, can you go down to the barber and say, okay, can you now style this like Kenneth Branagh?
I actually think that'd be fucking fun. I reckon we should film it, put it up on the channel. Like,
okay, if you do it, I'll do it, and we'll do like a Batman jawline reveal. It'll be just our beards.
I think what would happen though is they'd just be like to us. They'd be like, boys, I get you coming in. You're coming here with great intentions, and I like your style, but like, guys, this is physically fucking impossible. Like,
like if Kevin Kline can do it, we can.
Nathan, I wanted to bring up a special segment and talk about which two characters should have kissed in this film, because I have a candidate. Nathan, Salma Hayek and Kevin Kline should have ended up together at the end of this movie. Like,
really?
Like I was like,
do they have anything in common?
No, like they don't. Like they don't. But you know, you saw.
Also, she kisses Will Smith. They kissed,
which was bizarre. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, especially like given the ending of this film, like she's married. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Why did she do that? It's like, what are you thinking? It's like.
But Nathan, they had this kind of cutesy, weird, like kind of high school bullshit relationship, and it was just, I guess, kind of like given the setting and the kind of feel of the film, it just kind of would have been fun. I don't know. I could have got around that.
Oh no! I didn't ship any romance in this movie, Brenton.
Oh,
like,
come on! It would have been. Like, it would have been cute. You have to admit, it would have been cute.
Honestly, I wanted. What's his name? Kevin. Basically, Brendan. What I want is that I wanted Kevin Kline to kiss the guy at the start with the trumpet ear.
Ooh, right. Okay. You.
Because I thought he was ready to do it. Yeah.
Do you want to lick that slime off his jacket from his fucking ear trumpet? Yum.
Mate, I'll bark
sexy.
like a dog. You watch me.
Oh, fuck off. Nathan, can we say that the kissing we got at the very start of this film, and like the second scene between Will Smith and what's her face rando person?
Oh, the chick in the tub.
The chick in the tub, in the tower. That was the worst kissing on film I've seen. That was like fucking disgusting.
My God.
That was like.
When he's like kissing in the air as well.
Oh. Dude, like that.
Jeez.
I was just like, what?
The poor kids who are going to watch this movie and think that's how you kiss someone. They just do it in the schoolyard, like, ugh.
The poor girl who comes across to her first kiss with some guy that's watched this film, and he's like, I got it down, boys, and goes in and does that. Like, it's not worth it, guys.
God.
Just get out of there. Nathan, that wraps up special segments, which brings us to...
Well, what steals this movie?
Nathan, this whole film was full of things.
This whole film, you and I debated for a while before we even started recording as to what frame should be the one that steals this movie, and there's too many.
There was a lot. There was so many that we could have chosen from.
And yet we found consensus with such an amazing frame, Brent.
This sums up the movie. This sums up the juvenile, immature humor. It sums up some of the like interesting costume choices. It features Kevin Kline predominantly. It's he's getting some Will Smith action as well. You know what I mean?
Because I like how scientific he looks looking at Will Smith's breast. He's like, oh yes, water, of course. Like,
So, just letting you guys know, if you haven't listened to the show before, What Stills This Movie is a segment where basically either myself or Nathan or both of us, we pick a still, a frame from the film that we think sums up the film in some way. Maybe it's just a laugh, something that's super funny, or maybe it's like a nice shot of something that's really beautiful and takes your breath away. Nathan, this
and we chose something very beautiful, didn't we? I mean, look at those.
This does take
breasts.
my breath away. So if you want to see this frame, feel free to go to our YouTube page. It's up there at the moment. It features Kevin Kline with his fake breasts that he's just put on. He's like, feel these, like these are scientifically proven to be like the perfect breasts. And Will Smith doesn't agree, and he changes the filling to water. And the men start fondling each other's breasts, and then the train driver like overhears this and like comes up behind them and is like, oh, and he hears the conversation. He's like, I knew it, and it's meant to be funny, I think.
Could you imagine if he just started filling the breast as well? Just like
Nathan, this shot just sums up the movie, doesn't it? It's just
oh God. Like I'm just shaking my head, Brenton.
I don't even know what else to say. Like, just look at it. It's just. And yet, as a kid, I remember this like and laughing and thinking it was funny. That like, oh, he's wearing boobs.
And then you got like a water balloon and you just started touching it. Like
yeah, and I was like, so this is what the breast feels.
and your parents walk in like, what are you doing, Brenton? You're like,
Nathan. How did they make this making movie magic? Yeah. Well, I now know that Kevin Smith knows how they made this movie, so I'll be referring to his good judgment. But Nathan, do you have any facts? Seriously,
watch it. It's so fucking good. It's one of the best things you'll see on YouTube. Brenton, I seriously want to know how the fuck did they make this movie?
Well, Nathan, I got some good trivia here for you. So
Fire away.
Will Smith actually turned down The Matrix to do this film. This was the film that he turned down The Matrix to do.
What?
So as we all know, Will Smith was the original choice for Neo.
Could you imagine the Matrix of Will Smith?
Oh gosh. Before, obviously, Keanu Reeves, that breathtaking human, was chosen as Neo. Will Smith was offered the role, and he turned it down to do this film because he was a fan of the television series. And he later went on to say that this was the worst decision he has made in his career.
What? Really? This is the worst?
I would say that quote was taken before he made After Earth. So...
Or Suicide Squad.
No, I'd say After Earth trumps fucking Suicide Squad. What the hell's the monster called in After Earth again? It's like the... Oh.
I have not seen that movie. Also, why have you seen that movie?
Oh my god, what's it called? It's fucking hilarious. It's like the...
Why did you see After Earth, Brenton?
Oh, what? Dude, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. It's...
Did you see it in cinemas?
No, God no. What's the monster called? Fuck, I need to... Alright, guys, there's a new segment where Brenton looks up things.
Oh, classic Brenton's looking up a fact. Alright, well, Brenton's looking that up. I'm going to give you another fun fact. So...
Oh, I just remembered it. I'm so sorry. But it's called... it's After Earth, and he does this horrible accent because it's like this weird future accent. He's like, it's scientifically proven. This is how people will talk in the future. It's called the Earth, and they have this accent. They say, "Oh no, the Earther is coming," and it's like the Earther, like.
Gee, what is it, Kiwi?
The Earther. Oh man, it's terrible.
Oh fuck that! No, Will Smith, stick to this movie. I thought he was. I think it being Will Smith, it added to the movie.
The Earther.
I don't want to see anyone else in the lead role. I'm glad it was him.
Me too.
Brenton, when they were doing test screenings for this movie went under costly reshoots to actually add some humor because the test audiences overwhelmingly weren't sure if it was supposed to be a comedy or not.
Oh my god.
So that's why there's so many jokes in this movie.
I reckon they watched that introductory scene between Kenneth Branagh and Will Smith when they're like punning at each other with the racism and like half man jokes, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
What is this shit?
Nathan, Will's mum. When Will Smith asked his mother what she thought of the movie, she replied, "You've done better, baby." Which is hilarious because even if your mum, who is like bound to say that everything you do is amazing and like you know,
everything.
like and is so proud of you because she fucking gave birth to you, and it's like the fact that you were living and that you were made.
You're on this child to do good and good alone.
Like, and yet even
we've all seen We Need to Talk About Kevin. Even then, she still loves him.
Even his mother, you've done better, baby. And
Jesus.
And maybe he has,
Well, speaking about good feedback, Kenneth Branagh has been quoted to say that his accent in this movie, he said, it might be the worst American accent performed by a British actor.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty horrendous.
At least he's honest, but hey, I like his gusto.
Also, I kind of like it. It kind of works for the movie, as shit as it is,
Nathan, do you know that George Clooney was attached to play Artemis Gordon, a.k.a. Kevin Kline, in this film, but turned it down reportedly?
Oh my goodness, why?
Turned it down reportedly because it was a supporting part.
One, that's a dickhole move, and two, like... Really? Like, come on. He's as president as Will Smith.
Hey, man.
Nah, George. Stick to bloody Ocean's 11. Oh, could you imagine if George is doing like his Ocean's 11 character in this? Like, he's just fucking walking around the train, just be like, yeah, man. I found this very funny. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this moment, Brenton, but there's a transition shot near the end of the movie when they're riding the giant spider back to Washington. It's like right at the end of the film, and they're walking past like a big rock. And it looks as though it's shaped like the bird, like someone's giving someone the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deliberate.
Why?
That's literally there because they wanted to add a rock that looked like that.
Oh, Jesus. And when that's the priority, you got a good film in the works. Nathan, do you know the train featured in this movie is in that amazing train is actually on display at Old Tucson Studios in Tucson, Arizona?
Because I imagine a lot of that is practical effects.
Yeah, Nathan, can we travel to Tucson and go see this train?
Mate, where the fuck is Tucson?
I don't know. It's in Arizona.
Oh, fantastic. Mate, I'll go to bloody Arizona.
Can we please go?
That'll be...
Please.
Christ, could you imagine just like, that death trap of a train, like... They've got like a little like count of tourists that haven't like come out of the train. It's like, ooh.
So Kevin Kline and Sir Kenneth Branagh, who are star in this movie, star actually in another film together, which came out the next year.
Oh, do they?
Do you know what it's called?
No.
It's called The Road to El Dorado, and next year we're going to talk about it.
Oh my goodness. Because ever since we've done Prince of Egypt, we're like, fuck yeah, let's do Road to El Dorado.
Yeah.
And like, it turns 20 next year, doesn't it?
I want to do it for my birthday episode next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Because I've always... because like even today I had my housemates talk about El Dorado. I'm like, fucking hell.
Really? What'd they say about it?
It pisses me off. Oh, they were just talking about an armadillo. I think that's like a side character or something like that.
Yes.
Like, yeah. And I'm just like, and like so many people talk about that movie. I'm like, fuck, and I want to see it, but we're saving it for the podcast. So
Nathan,
like,
next year. Can we watch it? Like, we're watching that film together. We're going to get a pizza. We're going to go get some wine, and we're going to sit down and we're going to fucking watch it together and have it, make a night of it. I can't wait. Yeah. But Nathan, you had a question for me.
Hey,
Let's
look at this film's poster.
Nathan, holy fuck.
Oh my goodness.
Holy shit.
It's a pretty shit poster, isn't it?
Holy shit. What the fuck is this? All right, so
it's shit, but the spider on it is incredible.
oh my god. So it has the spider.
Also, it spoils the spider straight off the bat, but okay.
Has the spider with like a fucking, I think it's shooting like it's a missile thing, but it looks like it's got a flamethrower coming out of it. It's got a metal background with like this metal like W in the background. And in front of that is like the two main characters, Will Smith and Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline is holding a weapon which he uses at no point, let alone no one uses that thing in the film. And it looks amazingly cool, his pistol.
It looks so awesome.
It looks so awesome. And Kevin Kline's got
also, he's got glasses that he barely wears in the film, but
Yeah.
also looks so dope.
They're dope. Dude, we need to get...
I want these glasses.
You and me are going to go out shopping and we're going to find glasses like this.
Oh my goodness.
We're both going to get pair matching ones and we're going to like fucking roll around and be like, we're the boys from Classic Movie Banter. So when you see two young men walking around...
with these glasses on the streets of Sydney.
You can bet, anywhere in the world, you can bet it's probably going to be us, and come up and we'll sign your shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel like this is adding to our list of like memorabilia we own from movies. Or do you reckon these glasses would work with the Rocky IV jacket?
Oh, fuck yeah, they would.
I can see it on Brenton's face now. Like, you don't see it, listeners, but like the glee, the grin he has.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to wear this to the next wedding. I'm like, do it, Brenton.
Nathan, what I also want to say about this poster is that I've seen this poster many times before because it's actually featured at the Warner Brothers Movie World park on
when
the Gold
we grew up,
Coast.
this is the only thing I knew about the movie was this film's poster. And I'm like, this looks like a good time.
Yeah, they got a huge version of this poster there, and it's still there, and I always go past it, and it brings back fond memories of the park itself, because like I look at this and it just reminds me of that. But now
and the Wild Wild West log flume is fucking great at that theme park.
It is. I'll also say that it has Will Smith as is James West, and Kevin Kline is Artemis Gordon. Wild Wild West, it's a whole new West, July 99, and then it has Kenneth Branagh
underneath it. And Kenneth Branagh. It's like, oh, how blessed they mentioned him. I don't know. Is there anything you do to improve the poster?
I like it. I think it's stupid. It's fun.
It's stupid, but I think make the spider more prominent, or even if it's like crawling on Will Smith's hat or something like that.
Fuck off. Hey Nathan, title talk. I don't know if it should be called the Wild Wild West. I don't know. This doesn't sum up the Wild Wild West. Like, oh my god.
No, especially the fact it's called like his name's Jim West as well. Like, is he the Wild Wild West? Like, I mean, tell you what, there definitely was some Wild Wild West in Wild Wild West. Like, we can definitely say that.
It was pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. Like, fucking hell.
But it's pretty like generic as a title. I feel like it could be a lot better.
What would you call it?
What would we call? Oh fuck! I was hoping for you to give me a funny answer. You could say When Spiders Attack, or like Will Smith in a Bucket. I don't know.
Will Smith in a bucket.
Tell you what, that title would fucking sell tickets. Prove me wrong. I don't know. Probably to give away the steampunkness of it all. I'll probably add to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like maybe, I don't know, the steampunk West, or like maybe instead of Charlotte's Web, it's like Will Smith's Web. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Tweet at us. You do the work, listeners, and let us know what you want to call this movie once you've seen it.
Hey Nathan, that spider looks pretty fucking power, but I think we need to pass some of that power to the people. Let's pass it to the people, the power. Nathan.
Yes.
This film on the tomato meter.
Brenton, this is the crime. This is the real Wild Wild West of the movie.
It sits at 17%.
Ludicrous.
And then audiences have given it 28%.
Monstrous, Brenton. This is the most egregious crime of Rotten Tomatoes we found on the podcast so far.
When you looked this up, were you surprised?
I was flabbergasted, Brenton. I was writing a letter to my local member of parliament to let them know how egregious this was, and that Rotten Tomatoes needs some interference from the Australian government, because these numbers are out of whack.
Diana Stetko from Metro Times says, this is handcuffed to this blockbuster of all blockbusters and sprawled in our reclining seats. We passed the time counting familiar scenes from other movies.
Did you think it was derivative?
Not really. This is pretty original. This is
Like, there's definitely like stereotypes and archetypes.
There's nothing like this though. Like, holy fuck. Like,
oh my goodness. No, this is one of the most original movies I think I've ever seen. With concept, I should say. But Bob Thomas, he didn't like it either from Associated Press. And he gave it a bad review. He said, too many elements remain unexplained, and it can't really take 4 screenwriters to come up with this for Smith, or he's battling 5 assassins and says, that's it. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
No, he says, no more Mr. Knife Guy. Because the guy's got
oh my
knife
god, he
hands.
does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So Bob Thomas, your review is flawed because it doesn't feature the actual quote. So sorry, buddy. They actually were using a bit more, intelligence and creativity when they said no more Mr. Knife Guy. So
oh my goodness. The puns. I would cut out the puns in this movie, truly. Like, probably take out half of them.
This probably started the dad joke phase, you know what I'm saying? Tim Brayton from Antagony and Ecstasy says, as monumentally stupid and aggressively anti-fun as the film's rancid reputation would have it be.
Brenton, regardless of what this man wrote for the review, should the title of this movie be Antagony and Ecstasy?
No.
I don't know. Aggressively anti-fun. I think this is the most proper fun you can have in a movie, truly.
It's ridiculous. It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. Like Garen M, he gave it 3 stars and said, Wild Wild West is appalling, but it's so bad that it works.
Exactly.
I disagree. I think there's some genuinely good bits that aren't even bad. They're just great because they're great.
I mean, I'm probably more with Garen on this one, but like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing.
You're always siding with Garen, aren't you, Brenton?
I think it's a good time. James H, though, gives it 4 stars and says, I learned today that reading critic reviews is for the birds. Wild Wild West is fun, entertaining, and void of any unbelievable CGI.
See, James admits there's no criticisms you can give this movie, and I agree with you, James. Well done. High five. He's on my side. Jim, 20% W, gave it 5 stars, Brenton, and wrote, this is a big classic, better than every other movie.
Oh, I don't know. Is it better than It's a Wonderful Life? Is it better than Network? I'm not sure. No, it's not. Fuck off, man.
I don't know if it's better than Babe 2, but like, come on. It's like, oh, by the way, this is so set in the same weird wacko world as Babe 2.
Probably. This is what happened before Babe 2. You know what I mean? Like, this is the...
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is what led to Babe 2 being so batshit crazy.
Lee W gives it half a star and says, ponderous, dull, and historically insulting. At one point, Smith talks his way out of potential lynching. Not appropriate for a comedy. You're not wrong, but fuck, that sentence alone, like, just makes people intrigued, I'd imagine. Like, what?
Oh, that's how you fucking sell this movie.
You know?
Like, how has Will Smith never been caught out in this game? How doing like interviews for Aladdin, people don't mention, or remember that time you did stand-up comedy about lynching? You know what I mean? People gave Dave Chappelle shit for Sticks and Stones. This is nothing compared to that. Like,
oh man, yeah, it's pretty, you'll listen to it and you'll be like, what? What's happening?
Oh my goodness. Henry Jones Jr. on YouTube wrote, still looks better than most of the crap today.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that, Henry, to be honest. Like, I think...
Same. I miss movies having this energy that you just don't get in blockbusters today.
Nathan, yeah, it's that mix of practical effects and, like, yes, there's some shitty CGI, but at the same time, it gives it a kind of feel. It gives this film an aesthetic that's kind of fun and stupid and... You know. Spruce Wayne says this movie was ahead of its time. Great movie.
It was ahead of its time. Like, could you? Okay, imagine this movie never happened and we got exactly this product today in the cinemas. What do you think the reaction would be?
It wouldn't open, mate.
I think it would be beloved. I think, especially against so many, out of all the bland blockbusters we've had this year, especially, I think if this opened alongside like Men in Black International and Godzilla 2, I think this would be revered.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, but. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but hey, you never know. You never know. Nathan, that is Wild Wild West, released in 1999.
Oh my goodness. Brenton, what started off as a joke might be one of my favorite movies we've ever done for this podcast.
I'm so glad. Are you going to buy that poster and put it up on your wall?
Brenton, I'm going to buy every bit of memorabilia for this movie. Could you imagine the Lego toy set for this film?
Oh my God. Oh
it would be amazing. I'm gonna buy it all, Brenton. I'm gonna buy all the merchandise. We're gonna find those glasses. We're gonna keep you listeners updated on those glasses because they're fucking incredible.
We definitely will. Well, guys, thanks for listening to us. We really do appreciate it. You can, of course, find the podcast on podcast services such as the podcast app, SoundCloud, And YouTube, of course, where you can comment on our videos and tell us what you think about Wild Wild West. But you can also tweet at us as well, or send us an email. Let us know what you think about the film, and anything else you want to talk to us about. Really,
just get in touch. Let us know what your trip to the Wild Wild West is like. Like, I've been to Texas, and I only wish it was like this.
Hey, man. We gotta make a trip. We gotta go to Arizona, check out that train.
Oh, fantastic! Well, Brenton, we survived the tornado and the worms last week. But look, Brenton, what also is that in the distance?
Oh, what is it, Nathan? I can't quite tell.
It looks like a metal leg. Oh no, there's 8 of them, Brenton.
Oh, is that a giant spider?
Oh no, Brenton! It's coming straight for us. What do we do?
Nathan, there's only one thing that one can do in this situation.
What, buddy?
Rap. Wicked Wild Wild West. James West, Esperado. I'm played by Will Smith, and I don't give a shit. But a boom. Kevin Kline. Oh yeah, Summer Hayek giving a piece of shit performance. Oh yeah. I'm Kenneth Branagh. It's going away.
Oh my god, it worked.
Thank God we didn't have to make the flying machine, Nathan.
We can only use Willem Dafoe so many times.